Okay, folks, so we're making a kind of Silk Road Venetian style uh, cauliflower dish now. Notice I've chopped these into the smallest florets that I have so far. They're not tiny, but they're smallish. And they're the smallest ones I've done. And we're going to blanch these. And of course, I'm getting burnt by the water. Just want to get them all at the same time. The other important part is that these should be roughly the same size. That's a given. So we're going to blanch them for 2 minutes. I'm not going to use this. And we're going to get the cold water running. I have, let's stir this up a bit. These are not tiny, but they're not medium, and they're not large. They're small. This is going to help speed up the cooking process. So this dish should only take half an hour. Meanwhile, I have some apricots, a lemon, an onion, coriander seeds, which I'm going to crush, fennel seeds, pepper flakes, cinnamon, pine nuts for the top, and a pinch of saffron. That's going to be part of our Mediterranean Silk Road Venetian version. But I'm just gonna get the water running, because after you blanch, you want cold water, and we'll dump this in to shock them so that they don't cook very much more, and we will then end up using the saute pan after I dice this onion, finely diced. So those are the ingredients, and I'm going to put the timer on. Alright folks, stage 2. We're going to get a couple glugs of olive oil in there. The pan is hot, but it's just medium. It's only meant to be medium. But it was already hot because I toasted some pine nuts, pignoli, and at high heat. So actually, this is too hot. I can tell because it's smacking and smoking already. But what we want to do, I'll turn it off for now, and put in our finely diced onion. And we want to cook it down gently, not furiously like this. And we want it to just come to a light brown, color. As I've mentioned before, my stovetop isn't very responsive, so when something heats up, it takes a long while for it to cool down, sorry. And so we're just going to do this gently for about 8 minutes. And that's when we can start adding our spices, all spices, no herbs. This burner is off, and it's still going, which means I need to put some more oil in before it. We don't want burned onions, we just want sweated onions with a touch of browning. I don't even have the stove on. And, one could use, you want a bit of fruit in here. So I'm going to make maybe a half a cup. I'm going to chop up some apricots, dried apricots. And of course they went on the floor. Okay, but you could use golden raisins, you could use regular raisins, you can combine them with currants, or you could even use apricots with currants, or any combination you like, but just make them kind of bite like tiny pieces. I don't think I need all these. I just want to get them into the size of what a raisin would look like. I don't have those raisins, but I actually dislike dried currants in my food, unless they're soaked for a long time in alcohol or in hot water, because they just kind of don't taste like anything and they hurt your teeth. So I'm just doing a couple of these at a time. I'm going to put this on to medium low and let that go away while I'm chopping up. These are for the end stage, but we're just prepping. So that looks like a quarter cup. Now let's do, we've got a lot of cauliflower, but it did cook down. Here's the slices. You don't need to see me do this. You know how to cook. You know how to cut and dice. Probably do one or two more of these. And then I'll put the timer on here for 6 minutes because I'm thinking that 8 is too, you know, my pan is large. The larger your pan, the heat gets spread out, but it on the oven, on the stove top, sorry, the heat tends to, things tend to cook faster. So if you have them thicker, because they're all in one layer, if they're thicker, you have to stir them. And see, these are already browning. So I guess I don't have time to sit down for 6 minutes. They're already browning. And I'm going to then add my spices. It's coming too fast, so I want a half teaspoon. I can't even read this. Half teaspoon. I was going to crush the coriander, but I'm not now. So now's the time to add a half teaspoon of coriander seeds, a half teaspoon of fennel seeds. This is going to get the flavors out. Oh, and of course I spilled those. Now this whole cinnamon thing, it's actually quite strong flavor. And oil. Turning this right down now. Turning it off actually. I only want, so here's a quarter teaspoon and I want half a quarter teaspoon. Okay, and I want a pinch of, and of course I didn't open this saffron earlier. Smelling good though. You don't want it to smell like gingerbread. You want it to smell like Mediterranean spices. And I'm going to, you can see that some of it's, help! How do I get this open? Ah! I have to take that off the heat. Not wasting all that energy just to burn the onions. I have another onion, we could start again. I might do that. But right now I can't get the saffron open, so I'm going to take a pinch, but not a small pinch, because this is going to add the earthiness. And if you add just tiny little bits, you can't taste it. And anyway, it's a kind of like an herb, a spice that hums when you heat it. And if you don't put enough, if you put too little in, you can't tell what's going on. Anyway, so now we're adding our cauliflower. Turning it up again. And we're going to cook this with the lid on, so it's going to steam, but we got to mix it up first so that everything's coated. Oh yes, and this is where you add the salt and pepper. I'm going to add more of my fennel, which I spilled. I'm going to add more of my coriander, which I didn't spill. Oh, and pinch of pepperoncino, red pepper flakes. I don't think I need any more cinnamon. And we have our pieces of fruit here for later, more if I need them. So let's just try to flip it. them covered. We want salt and pepper. Salt. Because remember, we just parboiled these babies and they didn't get any seasoning. I didn't even season the water. And now we're going to, at medium low, we're going to let that steam together like that. And finish the cooking of the cauliflower because it was only partially cooked. I'm going to put my timer on for 4 minutes. Turns out I did that in the wrong order. So now we can also add our fruit because you don't want it to be, you want it to meld in a bit. And I think that's enough. I don't think I need more. I think golden raisins would be great, but I like apricots. So we're going to meld this together. And so that was only 2 minutes, but we're going to now add the aroma is fantastic. We're going to add the zest of a lemon to really pick it up. So that would be about half a teaspoon of zest. I don't think I need any juice for this. Let's just get, oh yes, that really, when it hits the heat, the aromas really come out. So now we're going to stir it up again, and we want this to be cooked through. And I kind of don't want any of that water, but we are going to let it steam for another 3 minutes. So that would be 5 in total. I can eat these for dessert. And eat these now. Okay, so that was another 3 minutes. Don't let it cook down to mush. But I don't think there's any much extra liquid. It's done. You just now get it into your serving dish like this, and try to preserve all the spice mixture so that you can see it on the top. This pan is heavy, so I'm shaking. And this is hot and delicious. Let's see what else I can get in here. Luckily I didn't burn any onions, but we have the color from the saffron, and you can see some pieces. Wow, okay, so that's an entirely different, taking this off the heat now, that's an entirely different profile, flavor profile, and an entirely different way to make, because I've been roasting cauliflower mostly. So we pan-fried it, we parboiled, pan-fried, and now is the time to embellish. I'm using some toasted pine nuts. Not all of them, just a handful. And, you want something fresh, and I'm using just leaves of celery here, because that's what I have, and anything fresh would do. And I think that looks really good, and it smells amazing. As a side dish, your guests will be thrilled. And actually, the aroma in the kitchen is outrageous right now. It smells so good with all those Silk Road spices and a little bit of fruit. And I'm not afraid to say that I think I prefer these little diced apricot as a little bit of a mouth, it's a mouth surprise.